the new toy for the Vikings that is kind of like whenever you polish off an old toy. And yet now you have this, it's old, but it's new again. Brian O'Neill and his new Achilles are back on the practice field. He's in pads. I don't think he's not a full participant in anything, I don't think.
No, not
but
yet. I don't think so.
And so he's just kind of going along. He's doing individual drills. He's got the pads on. He's getting his feet under him. Almost like, I mean, quite literally, he is getting his feet under him. He had Achilles surgery. So it is it's looking good for the big right tackle. I think that we forget how important he is to this offensive line and how important consistency is along the offensive line. And I feel like Rashad Hill, or was it? No, not Rashad Hill. Ali Udo, who filled in for him last year, right? Yeah.
Yes. I believe that. Did Blake Brandel also get some snaps over there?
Yeah, I think Brandel did too.
Who played the playoff game?
I thought it was Udo, but it might have been Brandel or Brandel. Maybe we look into that. Either way,
I'm gonna look that up while we're talking.
Because the backup played, I don't remember Cousins getting absolutely massacred in the playoff game the last week of the season. Because of that, we kind of forget how important Brian O'Neill is, but he is crucial to this team. There's a reason that the Spielman regime extended him and gave him a nice chunk of change. And I'm really excited for him to come back. I want him back week 1, but I understand that might not be a possibility. It might be like a couple games into the season, and that's all right. As long as he gets back, he's confident and he can play like himself. An Achilles is no joke, and the fact that he's in pads doing individual drills is a really, really good sign for the team overall, as well as, most importantly, for Kirk Cousins, who is in a contract deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it. You can fact check me on this. I don't remember where I saw this. I think it might have been PFF had their top offensive line rankings or whatever, and the Vikings got 10th, I believe, which seems a little bit generous. But I think it's probably because we have two very, very nice tackles. I don't think anybody's raving about Bradbury and Cleveland and Ingram. They're fine in a lot of ways, especially in the run game. But the reason why the Vikings offensive line gets any sort of respect is because of O'Neill and Darisaw. And, Brian O'Neill has sort of just quietly been a awesome right tackle for this franchise and has a lot of respect from his quarterback and his offensive line group and his coaching staff. And so he's one that we would love to see on the field come September 10th. They haven't given any official word, obviously, because he hasn't seen any live action yet, but him just being back on the field last week doing some drills in pads was obviously really good to see.
Yeah.
And just the quick check I did, it was Udo who started the playoff game.
I thought it was Udo because I remember I won't get into why I remembered things, but he played solid as a backup. I think he is a solid backup tackle. You can't expect your backup people expect the backup tackle to step in and do what Brian O'Neill did, where he stepped in due to injury and then didn't give up a sack for 18 games or something, and was just one of the best right tackles in football, and still remains that way to this day. I hope this, and I don't want to speculate about this too much. It kind of feels doubty. I almost don't want to say it, but the Achilles is a difficult injury to come back from. And
it's nasty.
He only had a partial tear, not a full-fledged off the bone, that whole thing, which is why his recovery was so quick. But, there are stories of guys that tear their Achilles and it used to be kind of a career, and it was no, you're done. Now it's more of you can play next season, but you won't be the same. So I'm almost wondering if we're going to see a watered down version of Brian O'Neill that's going to sour him to some of the fan base. And this is just a caution. Let's not sour on Brian O'Neill if he is not the same, elite level tackle that he has been throughout his career. Let's give him a season to get back. I still think he'll be really good. I'm just saying, maybe a couple 3 or 4 more
Yeah.
sacks this season. And then next season he'll get back to 100% and he'll be A-okay to go. Do you have anything else for Brian O'Neill, or do you want to move over to...
The only two things, just notable, athletes that fans might remember, people who suffered Achilles. Mohamed Ibrahim, the Minnesota Gopher running back. It was in week 1 of 2021. He snapped his Achilles against Ohio State. Gopher fans will probably remember that he was torching the Buckeye defense before that injury. We had a chance to sort of pull off a crazy upset in week 1. He goes down for the whole season. He doesn't come back till the next year. So he had a whole year off. Kevin Durant is the other one that comes to mind, snapped his Achilles in the finals in 2019. He didn't even play the following season. And so, again, like Jordan said, a partial tear is much better, obviously, than a full tear like those guys suffered. But the fact that O'Neal is already in pads, strapped, and, getting some work in is a hugely positive sign just, 7 months after the fact. So
Yeah.
it's good news for sure.
Yeah, I think it was a huge morale boost. Maybe not to the team. Maybe the team's been seeing him, walk around the locker room, and so that was fine. But I feel like the fan base overall, like, he put the pads on, and the fan base collectively were like, big sigh of relief. Yes, big sigh of relief. And maybe even a little bit of a, let's go, baby. Let's get hype. I know that was my reaction to Brian O'Neill being back. So, as I shake my desk and my cameras and everything. But speaking of injuries, missing practice, that whole thing, let's just go ahead. Let's just marry these two topics together. Brian O'Neill is back. That's wonderful. He should be back, pretty quickly to start the season. On the flip side, the man whose jersey I purchased recently, TJ Hockenson, came down with a bad case of the give me more money disease. And I made this joke before the show, and I'm going to make it again. I am one of the millions of Americans that suffer from the pay me more money disease, and it's debilitating. I mean, it's hard to get things done when you feel as though you're being underpaid, and I think TJ Hockenson, two parts here, he feels like he's underpaid because he is underpaid. He's like the second best tight end in football. Give him a contract. What are we doing beating around the bush? I don't know. What are we waiting on? Like, is he coming in saying, like, I want to make more money than Justin Jefferson? That's my contract goal. And like, if that's the case, then okay, the guy's delusional. Leak that to the media and then trade him. Like, just get something for him. But like, I don't think that's the case. I think that whatever is holding it up is holding it up. Give him whatever he wants. He's young. He's athletic. He's a stud. He's a willing blocker. He looks like the team logo. Give the man his money. I don't understand it. And I think he's crucial to this season and seasons beyond, the Vikings remaining to be a top 5-ish offense. And I mean, we are strapped in right now with Jefferson and Hockenson and Addison, maybe even KJ, although, we won't get into his contract and everything after this year or whatever. But with those core pieces, those pillows, we are in for like 6 or 7 years of really exciting Vikings offensive football. The defense will come and go, but like, the offense should stay consistently really good with those weapons. And it's just kind of upsetting to think that Hockenson and Jefferson don't have a deal done. Now, Jefferson's fine. He doesn't have the give me money disease, but I don't know. Maybe Hockenson has COVID, and I'm being a giant a-hole. Hockenson, if you're watching this, I love you. I bought your jersey. I really appreciate everything you do. But what's your take? Do you think this is related to the contract, or do you think it's just a sickness? What do you think?
I think he's just got a cold.
Oh, whatever.
No, I wasn't at practice, and I wasn't, in the locker room, and I wasn't in the trainer's room, and I also was not in Kwesi's office when he went banging on the door. So I have no idea, but I would be very surprised if it was give me more money disease, because what would happen is this would become another, holdout thing. And why would have Hockenson started holding out now? Why wouldn't have he done it at the beginning of camp? So that's sort of kind of where I'm at. If he was this, hell bent on getting his money, why not just do it before camp even starts? So it's totally speculative. I mean, I would imagine that. I honestly think that O'Connell even said he was going to be a full participant today. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and re-listen to that. But
yeah, in today's press conference, I think he said full participant tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
I thought it was tomorrow, but like, yeah, he expects him to be full, which kind of made my give me money take a little ice cold. But
or it puts more hot water on it because we're gonna wake up tomorrow and he's gonna have a new 4-year, $68 million deal, and we're all gonna be, giving you your flowers.
I would love that. I have a conspiracy theory. I have two conspiracy theories. One of them I've pitched already on the show. What if the Vikings are waiting to see what Cousins does this year before they make any long-term decisions on Hockenson and Jefferson? I mean, obviously they want to keep them, but maybe they need to know how Cousins' contract is going to be structured, so that way they can structure the other two guys accordingly and make sure that they don't end up like $255 million in the red. And so they have to do the money thing. The other conspiracy theory is, you brought up why would Hockenson just now start? Maybe they were having negotiations in good faith, and maybe Kwesi said, for whatever reason, hey, we're gonna back off the talks for now. We're still interested, but we think we need a break. Things got heated me and my wife do this sometimes. We have a discussion, things get heated, we say, let's take a break. You watch TV, I'll go, play video games, or I'll do something. We'll readdress this in a little bit. And so maybe Kwesi kind of said something to that effect of, hey, let's put a pause on negotiations. Hawkinson's agent told him that, and Hockenson said, well, then I'm not going to continue to play. I thought we were close. I thought we were on the same page, and apparently we're not. So maybe something like that happened. I want to be wrong. Like you said, I want to wake up tomorrow and, 4 years, $84 million, whatever the contract is. Give him the Cousins fully guaranteed deal. If that's what it takes. I bought his jersey, and so now I'm financially invested. And I would really like.
It is something that's interesting to think about, though, like how much you pay a tight end, and there's market values and all these things, and I wish I could give this man his flowers. He was a guy from PFF who was touted as sort of always getting these contracts right, and his prediction was 4 years, $64 million, so that evens out to about $16 million a year. So I think that would place him as the second highest tight end behind Darren Waller. On annual value. It is interesting to think about, with like how much to pay these guys, because a tight end, this is not your dad's and your grandpa's tight end league. These guys are way more valuable than they used to be, especially someone who can at least get his hands a little bit dirty in the run game. But I mean, these guys are becoming a fourth wide receiver out there, and obviously, Travis Kelce is a unicorn, but like guys like Kelce and Kittle and Mark Andrews and Hockenson and Waller, these guys are big and fast and strong, and they play like wide receivers. And so paying these guys more than, what they used to be paid kind of makes a little bit of sense. And also just locking up a Pro Bowl tight end for multiple years is probably a good bet.
Yeah.
So
this ain't Jim Klein's also.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, and like this, you need a tight end in this current NFL iteration. You don't want to roll out there with Johnny Munt as tight end 1 next year. So, who knows? We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. There's so many different scenarios, like you said. Get the Kirk Cousins situation figured out. I mean, what happens if Kirk gets hurt? What happens if the team tanks it and they go 2-7 to start the year and they just kind of, blow it up? Like, what happens then? So there's so many different things that could happen that could lead to what they're thinking with these contracts. It's very interesting. This is the last year of Hockenson's contract. It's the 5th year option on his rookie deal. So, it's.
I think that it's, and I want to, this is just evidence to back up your claim of how, it is a new day in the NFL. The tight end is basically, he's like a 4th or 5th receiver on a team, but a lot of the times he's like the 2nd or 3rd option that a quarterback has. And the way that these guys are built, like Kelsey and Hockenson and all the guys you listed, Wallow, like they can house like 55-yard touchdowns. Like and they're a big body in the red zone. Like it's the best of both
Yeah.
worlds kind of thing. And not to take a shot at this guy, but like the tight ends are basically what N'Keal Harry is supposed to be. Like when N'Keal Harry was drafted, he was supposed to be a big-bodied wide receiver that could go up and over guys to catch balls and could also, be a wide receiver and do wide receiver stuff like that. And that's basically what Hockenson and Wallow and all these guys are. And then this is the real data point that I want to bring up. Look at the championship games from last year and look at the tight ends that were in there. The one that sticks out to me, because there was Kelsey, and then in the NFC, we'll get back to the Bengals. In the NFC, it was Kittle and it was Dallas Goedert, who are both very good tight ends. All three of those guys are elite tight ends. And the Bengals, it wasn't like they rolled out a scrub. They went and signed Hayden Hurst, who was kind of viewed as like he had the potential to be on the same level as some of these elite tight ends. He just never capitalized on it, but he kind of capitalized on it last year with Cincinnati and ended up leaving in free agency and signing a nice deal. So I pay the man. That's why I can end it, is pay the man.